All right, welcome back on Africa Business Radio with Racheal and Winston. And yes, we're getting into our guest conversation today, day 3 of our Her series.
Absolutely.
And we're talking work-life balance. And this morning, we've got just the perfect person to take us through that. We have Dr. Thelma, who is a medical doctor with a specialty in public health. She's also trained in health management and strategic leadership with a firm bias in health systems, strengthening and development. Good morning, Dr. Thelma. It's good to have you here.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
We're so sorry for all the back and forth with, network and stuff.
Yeah.
It can be really crazy sometimes. But thank you for sticking around and doing this with us.
Thank you.
All right, before we get into the conversation now, Thelma, you are doing amazingly well. You are a wife, you're a mother, you're a career woman, you're a businesswoman. Like, you have a lot going on, but you are still basking so strong. Tell us, as we mark this year's International Women's Day, and as we strive for a whole lot of things, we're choosing to change a lot of things. What do you choose to challenge this year?
Sorry, take that again so that I'm sure that I understand your question.
Yes, it's International Women's Month and it's International Women's Week. Mm-hmm. And the theme for this year is Choose to Challenge. Yeah. So, as a career woman, as a businesswoman, and
as a doctor.
Yeah, exactly. Doctor. What do you choose to challenge?
The narrative, basically, of a woman can do it all,
Yes.
And I think women shouldn't limit themselves because they are married or they're in a particular profession, and so they can't do other things that they want to do. So basically, I choose to challenge that narrative because I feel a woman can do it all and be good at everything she wants to do. So It has nothing to do with jack of all trade, master of none. I just think if you want to do something and it makes you happy, it is good for your mental health, please, by all means, go for it, irrespective of the fact that you're a wife, you're a mother, and you're a career woman. So, yes.
Interesting. I like that. Now, based on, work-life balance as a woman who has a family to deal with, many organizations, they've come out to say that, we have family-friendly policies that promote work-life balance. But when you look at it, the day-to-day experience of the people working in these organizations don't really match what was advertised by the organization. And over time, it leads to increased negativity, it leads to reduced productivity, especially on the sides of women. And if these things continue, you see that they would want to opt out, and the easiest way to end it would be to leave the job. And we see a lot of women not being able to because of the job insecurity in the country. So what simple ways do you feel that employers can move? What moves do you think they can make to ensure that the workplace is a healthy place for women to work?
Okay, so I'm going to use my place of work as an example and the things I have put in place to ensure that there's work-life balance. So because I'm a woman and because I'm a mother, I understand the stress. When I was doing my house job in medical, after medical school, I just had my baby and I had to take calls. Sometimes I had to take my daughter to the emergency when I'm seeing patients and all that. It was a tough time. So I told myself, if I find myself in a position whereby I am leading people, I'll make sure that doesn't happen to other women. So for my workplace, first and foremost, because it's a hospital and the hospital doesn't close, it's 24 hours. We built a crèche for mothers, because we know we have nursing mothers so that they can still come to work and still check on their babies. And I went further to, because we have a consultant pediatrician, I went forward to train the caretakers and also train the mothers on how to balance motherhood, breastfeeding and walking and all that, and for the babies that are taking formula. So just basic training. Another thing I did, I usually have a one-on-one, so I feel to effectively connect with your employees and to understand where their heads at. you should have a one-on-one with them from time to time. So that way you understand their challenges, both personal and work, and then you know what strategies to put in place to enable them thrive in their workplace. Because I don't think being a mother should be a limit to what you can do and what you can achieve.
All right. So just another major thing, right, that, you know, a lot of people don't, you know, look into, because I was just having a conversation with my colleague here about how I worked in 2 different organizations. And so I was saying that companies don't exactly, you know, make provisions for, you know, when, you know, some of their staff, female staff, get pregnant. Now, I've noticed, and I'm talking a very big organization, there was a situation where 2 women got pregnant and they literally were just working till it was almost impossible to come to work anymore. Nobody said anything, not even the line manager. Nobody came to say, oh, why are you still coming to work? How many months do you need, you know, just before you give birth? And it happens. And I'm talking, this is a conglomerate that literally has branches all over the nation. So, and you can imagine what happens in other smaller companies where, you know, nobody's fighting for their rights. The HR doesn't speak up. So what do you think can be done to change this? Like, how do we protect women, especially who have to, you know, go and have children and still, you know, protect their job? Because a lot of them are also scared because they know that, oh, if I have to go for so long, maybe 6 months, or if I need 4 months, I'm not sure if that job will be there by the time I get back, which is totally unfair. So how do we change this in the Nigerian system? What can be done to protect a woman who's good at what she does, who's competent, and just, you know, not have her, you know, feeling like, oh, I might lose this job just because I want to have a baby? How can we protect women even while they have to raise a family?
Okay, the thing is, I think most times these things happen in the private sector, because I know that in the government sector, there are already policies put in place. But I think we need to go a step further, and this has to also do with the policymakers in terms of integrating certain work rules in the private sector.
Okay.
You know, and that goes beyond just one person. It has to be something that our lawmakers have to sit down and come up with a proper law that covers that aspect. Because I know that in the government sector, there are policies for women who need to go on maternity leave and all that. So now I work in the private sector, so I will still go back to my workplace because that is where I am familiar with. Yes. So usually we have we give our mothers or our mothers to be 3 months, the normal 3 months maternity leave. Now, some of them might, and that's why it still boils down to that one-on-one conversation with your employees, because it's very important for you to be relatable and accessible to these people. You know, so when you have this one-on-one, you understand, okay, where their head is at. Yeah. So sometimes some of them will come and say, okay, I would want to extend my maternity leave. So we'll come to an agreement whereby you extend your maternity leave, and then you know that the normal maternity leave is 3 months. So when you're extending it, there'll be terms and conditions attached to that. Okay. So it's all about being flexible, you know, and being human as well. Because when you know that these people actually give their all, you can also, and that also helps in terms of retaining your staff. Because when they see, okay, where I work, they understand, they're flexible. Yes, granted, people take this opportunities for granted. You know, people can take it for granted, but the majority of people understand that, okay, it is not a right, but it's a privilege. And when they understand it, they don't take it for granted. So I think it's just having that conversation with the HR, with the said employee, and just coming to certain agreements that will favor both the employer and the employee.
Right.
Fantastic.
So it just boils down to effective communication, really.
All right, fantastic. So what are some of the personal tips, especially as a doctor, as a health worker? What are some of the personal tips you would give women to, help them stay healthy? Because, work alone, especially working in Lagos, is already so demanding and so draining. Some people have crazy work hours, and you have to deal with traffic. You literally spend like 4 to 5 hours just commuting to and from work. That alone can even take a huge toll on one's health. Then a woman, in most cases, still has to do her personal thing. Maybe she has a business on the side, personal growth, personal development, and there's a family, if she's in a family way, has to cater to the kids and still cater to the family. What are personal tips you can give to women to manage all of this and still not, break down and start having those chronic diseases as they grow older? How can they stay healthy? How can they, keep their blood pressure down? How can they, just pretty much stay healthy while they deal with all of these? What are some of the things that have worked for you?
Okay, so first and foremost, I think we need to be more health conscious in terms of you don't come to the hospital until you have symptoms. I think cultivating that habit of having a health check, if it is just annually or biannually or quarterly, just come and check those, do certain tests just to make sure that things are okay.
Right.
Especially for the fact that I work in a kidney center, we know that when patients come down with kidney disease or when they begin to show symptoms, the disease cannot be reversed.
Right.
And then kidney disease is one of the most expensive diseases in the world, so you don't even want to have it. So we preach prevention. So just a simple blood pressure check, a simple urine test, can just detect if there's something going on, and then they are able to reverse it before it becomes irreversible. So that's for the health check. But for my personal favorite is sometimes you need to shut down. I tell people that you are going to live with yourself for a very long time. So you owe yourself that favor to take care of yourself.
True.
So I am very big on mental health. I am very, very big. And mental health doesn't mean you have to go and see a shrink or just do those things that make you happy. Just going for a massage, just staying in a quiet room with a very light music, drinking maybe chamomile tea or chai tea. These are things that I do. So I'm talking based on my own experience. Yes. And just generate new things that make you happy. Find a happy space and stick to it. The thing is that whether you do stuff or not, people are still going to talk about you, whether it's negative or positive.
True,
so I think
absolutely.
it's just stick to your happy. Just stick to your happy space. Like outside being a doctor, I run a style blog on Instagram, and honestly speaking, it is my happy space.
Oh, nice.
Like if you see my videos, you will see how
The
I
true
radiate
joy.
happiness. Yes, exactly.
Right.
Just wearing clothes, styling clothes, it makes me happy, it keeps me sane, because we're already in a chaotic world as it is. So just find your happy space. It may not be fashion, it may be something else. Take yourself out. You don't have to wait for somebody to take you out. Take yourself out. It doesn't have to be anything fancy or, just, spoil yourself once in a while. Just keep your mental health balanced.
Right.
So things personal, like I said, these are things that I do personally. I go for massages, and I take a lot of tea. I kind of stay in a very quiet place. Sometimes I shut down, even for my kids. Like sometimes I just want to be myself. I lock my room. I know how kids are. They come to your door and they love. If my son sits down on the floor and waits for me, I was like, this time around I need to be selfish. So sometimes it's okay to be selfish.
Yeah.
Right.
Just to maintain that balance, just to maintain the stability. So I think these are the
nice
little
tip.
things I would say that you can do.
Right.
Absolutely.
Just before we let you go, Dr. Thelma, now I was just going to mention Dr. T Style, your whole business and fashion thing. That is really amazing. I had to go through it myself, and it's beautiful even watching you do what you do. And right now, with the chaos going on in a lot of workplaces, women are getting wiser and they are saying, okay, maybe I need to start my own business, alongside my career. So if things get really crazy and very tough, I can just jump onto plan B. Right. And it can be hard for some women because they don't have that much support system and they can't even afford it. So what advice would you give to women like that? Women who have to do things by themselves. They have to, shuffle all of this all by themselves. They have these ideas they want to implement, but they're doing it all by themselves. Your advice for them?
Okay. So, unfortunately, we are in a country that we don't really have a lot of support groups. Places where you can just sit down and listen. There are a lot of information out there, but you need to also sieve out those information to be sure that you're taking in the right information. But there are few. What's it called? With the advent, with the era of social media, there are few pages that that I've been to, and really, okay, there's one precisely. There's this one I follow on Wives and Mothers, you know, and she comes up with a lot of tips. You know, she connects with people that come to give you advice on businesses and all that. I just think the internet right now has a lot of information, so it's for us to sieve out what works for us. Not everything that everybody says you must do. You have to find what works for you and then stick to it. And then for those women who are established, you know, you can also find women that are struggling and help them out. Sometimes some of these women, the seed money they need will not even be up to 10,000. Maybe just they want to start a very small business.
Yeah.
So you, as an established woman, you can also, you know, make it your prerogative to go out there and find women that you can help out, you know, and all that. Because if God blesses you, you know, it is your responsibility to pass on that blessing to others.
Bless others.
You know, so I just feel that that's another way we can do it, because it's not everybody that has access to the internet. And even when you have access to the internet, there's so much information. Sometimes you can get overwhelmed.
Absolutely, it does.
Yeah, so I just feel that for women that are listening to this program and are well established, you can find somebody. It could be your neighbor, it could be somebody, a woman you've been passing the streets, you know, and just ask, okay, where can I help? Or you observe and see where you can help. And just a seed money of 5,000, 10,000, you never know where it will go, you know, and all that. For example, like my driver's wife, you know, because I told my driver, your wife needs to work. You know, she can't sit down at home. She needs to work. And I'm like, okay, what is she interested in? So he was like, oh, she likes to, there's a neighbor of hers that fries akara. And then she's been learning from her and she feels, I said, okay. And then we calculated how much it was. And it wasn't
all the money in the world.
Of a deal. Yeah. I gave him that money and she started that business. And believe you me, if she's making 2,000 naira profit every day, at least she's seen some sort of income. I tell people there's nothing like sustainable income. You are able to plan with that money. Then today you're making 1 million, tomorrow in 6 months no money, you know, and all that. But something that comes in, no matter how little it trickles in, after all, with a drop of water makes it full pocket eventually. You know, so I just feel that if you're in that space, you know, if God has blessed you, it's always nice to also find people, and you don't have to make noise about it. You know, just find people and also bless them as well.
Amazing stuff you're doing, Dr. Thelma. I must say, women need to support themselves as much as there are outcry about how men or how the government or how organizations are not being fair to women. We need to be fair to ourselves as women. So thank you so much for the great job that you're doing. Thank you for your patience and everything. We do hope that you'll welcome another invitation for, you know, more conversations on this subject.
No problem. Thank you so much.
Have a beautiful day.
Have a good day.
Thank you so much.
You too. And that was Dr. Thelma. She's a medical doctor specializing in public health. She's also a trained health management and strategic leadership with a firm bias in health system strengthening and development. And she also loves fashion.
Absolutely.
She's a stylist. She's a style curator, an influencer, and a content creator for her style blog, Dr. T Style, on Instagram. You can check her out. Amazing woman.